wrap up day one here with the ACC Football Kickoff 2019 with the Clemson Tigers. We are in Uptown Charlotte here in the Grand Ballroom of the Westin Hotel, and as we welcome in Clemson, we'll spend about 30 minutes with them. Spend about 6 or 7 minutes with John Simpson for the offensive line, who we'll welcome up to the podium now. And then we'll transition to Tanner Muse for about 6 or 7 minutes before we get to our head coach, Dabo Swinney, to finish this out. For our student athletes and coaches, we do have microphones floating throughout the room. So again, as we have done throughout the day, if you would, as an agency, please identify yourselves, the organization that you're with, and we will see how the next 30 minutes goes. Our first question to John Simpson will come to our right in the first row.
John, Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. Just what you can say about a lot returning on the offensive line and just your thoughts on the leadership there, not only coming from you, but from the other gentlemen that have starter minutes as well.
We have a lot of great guys on the offensive line, a lot of leaders, like you said. It's just from every position, is like except for our left tackle right now, he's still a young guy, and we just got to bring him under our wing, and we're going to try to do everything we can to be great.
The next question for John from the room. John to our left, third row.
Bob Halliday, WRL.com. If you pass block, Trevor Lawrence may throw it downfield for a touchdown.
Yeah.
If you run block, Travis Etienne may find a crease, and he may score a touchdown. So which is more fun?
I would say when Travis runs for a touchdown, it just makes me feel like I did my job, even when Trevor throws the ball. But I mean, when Travis runs, he got to run through the line. So when he runs through that line and get those yards, it just makes me feel like I did a great job.
We're going to go back to the left side, this time second row, right at the aisle.
Gary McDaniel, ClemsonSportsNews.com. Hey, John, Robbie Caldwell's been well known for cross-training you guys across a whole front line there. Kind of talk about what it's like to learn each of those different positions, to be able to play left tackle and then move over to guard, play right tackle, and then what it's like to train underneath those conditions with Robbie.
Knowing multiple positions is very helpful for the team and for me. Just knowing those things, knowing that I'm able and I'm equipped with that knowledge to go into the game and be able to play left tackle if I needed to, or sticking to guard, wherever they need me at. It just makes me feel more comfortable, and I'm sure it makes Coach Swinney feel comfortable.
John, to your right, far side, about 6 rows back.
John, obviously there was a lot of talk about the network being launched today, and for a program with you guys, 2 national championships in 3 years, what keeps the players grounded on a day-to-day basis?
Well, Coach Swinney instills in us that we got to just rebuild. We starting from a foundation, and we're going to live in the house that we build. And so this, like at the beginning of the year, he tries to tell us that we got a windshield mentality. He tells us that throughout the whole year, and that's how a lot of guys view how we play. We just windshield mentality, all that stuff that we did last year can't carry over, and that helps a lot.
We're going to go back to Dan on the right, first row.
John, just what you could say about the leadership from Trevor Lawrence. I mean, stepping in as a freshman, just what he was able to do, obviously, very quickly, the success he had nationally and inside of this conference, just what it's like working with him.
Working with a guy like Trevor Lawrence is fun. I said this earlier to a few people, and he's the kind of guy that takes the responsibility, even if it's not his fault. Like, say if the offensive line does something wrong or makes a mistake or something like that, he was like, it's my fault, I should have threw it faster, or it's my fault, I should have stepped up in the pocket. And having a guy like that behind you just makes you feel way more confident and feel like you can play faster and quicker. So.
John, here from the podium, you've experienced so much in your time at Clemson. What's your thought process heading into your final year of ball?
My thought process going into my final year, it's a bittersweet thing. I just feel like I got to dominate everybody that I go against, and that's been my thought process, since my freshman year, just dominate. And be the best that you can be.
Anything else from the room for John? John, as you leave the podium, describe your teammate Tanner Muse, and keep in mind that we're going to ask him the same question about you.
Tanner Muse is a hard-nosed safety. He plays really hard. He can play some linebacker if he needed to. He gets the job done, and I feel like there's not a harder worker on our team than Tanner Muse.
Thank you very much. We'll have you guys switch places. Tanner, be thinking about your response. What do you think about the photo? You like it?
Yeah, that's pretty cool right there.
All right, tell us about John Simpson.
John's a fun-loving guy. I love being around him. We've had a great time since we've been here. He's really about his business. Everybody kind of knew when he came in that he was going to be the dude. Real big guy, real big frame, but he's really just worked hard and building around his joints, making sure he stays healthy through the season. He's been a very dependable guy, and I just think he's a world-class guy first, and then obviously he's a great player as well.
Tanner, to your left, through my position right here.
Yeah.
David Hood, TigerNet.com. Tanner, you've won 2 national championships. You've got a drawer somewhere full of rings. What is the driving force for this season, for this team? Where does the chip come from to make another run at a title?
I think it comes from, it comes from just the success, tasting the success, and being able to continue to strive to get to the top of the mountain, top of the totem pole. And we've suffered a few losses since I've been there, and I hate losing more than anything. So just having that bitter taste in my mouth, I always think back of those times and how it felt and how bad it was. But that always drives me to just continue to get better and just continue to bring the guys along where they don't have to feel what we felt in previous years.
Tanner, go to your right, first row with Dan.
Tanner, why, for you this season to come back after having that success and being able to hoist the trophy, why was it important to you to come back this year and try to lead Clemson once again to another championship?
Yeah, I just felt like I had a bunch of unfinished business at Clemson. I had a really successful year, but I just felt like I didn't hit on everything I should have hit on. I got a lot of work to do in my game. I got a lot of things that I can get better at. So I'm super excited to just having to get through this work through the summer, and the spring ball has been a lot of fun. And just really finish as much as I can get out of Clemson as I can. It's a great place to be. I love living there. I love everything about it. I love being around my teammates and the coaching staff. So just really just enjoying it for another year. It's been so much fun this year, and I look forward to the season.
To your left, third row.
Tanner, Bob Holliday, WRL.com. There are a lot of high explosive offenses in this league. Some of them have catchy names. Clemson has had more success than anyone at slowing these offensive down. How have you done it?
I think it all comes into our preparation. We prepare so hard. Coach Venables makes sure we're in there. We go a little overtime sometimes, but it's all worth it at the end of the day. I think our preparation is top tier in the nation. The amount of film we watch all summertime, all springtime, and now get into the season, I think it's just what really sets us ahead of others.
Tanner, center aisle, right side, orange shirt.
Hey Tanner, Trevor Groves, TigerNet.com. Coach Swinney told us that he thought that this could be the best back seven that he's ever had. How does it make you feel to hear him say that?
It makes me feel pretty good. We've had some good back sevens in the past, so for him to say that, and then me being one of the seniors a part of that, I feel very privileged and honored. But it doesn't stop there. We have 11 guys on the field, so that seven's got to really lead the other 4 to be able to all work together as a cohesive unit. If you have one bad player on the field, it can end up in a touchdown. So it really doesn't matter about what group's the best, as long as that defense is tip-top shape and all the bolts are tight, and then we'll be just fine.
Tanner, to your left, third row in the green shirt.
Joe Hughes, Gaston Gazette. Your secondary really received quite a bit of criticism at certain points last year. How validating was it to do what you did to the Crimson Tide? And then how are you kind of keeping that same chip on your shoulder this season?
Yeah, so we got a bunch of things said about us after the South Carolina game, and I thought we really proved ourselves against Pittsburgh. We had a great game. I think we kept them under like 100 yards passing, which is unheard of in like a championship type game. So that was really satisfying as a team, and then building that into the playoffs and doing what we did. And a lot of guys coming out, having their come out party, like Nolan Turner making that pick against Notre Dame. I thought that was huge for him, being a confidence booster and putting different packages in, that we really had all 4 of our safeties out on the field at the same time. So that's just a big thing for us, just being able to have pride in our unit and just understanding that it's not about what the outside media is talking about. It's about what we have in our team and how we have our players and our coaches and how we each feel about each other. If there's a problem in there, we're going to handle it, but outside stuff, it really doesn't bother us. We know what we're about and how we do things.
You pivot back to your right, first row, back to Dan.
Tanner, we know that Coach Swinney obviously knows how to win, but in the trenches, what we don't see when you're in practices and in team meetings and whatnot, just what you can say about him as a head coach and what breeds success. What is it about him that you feel really gets through to you guys?
Yeah, we really get we get after it in the trenches. That's how every week we have some full days and things like that, and it really just kind of keeps us humble, knowing that what we're going to feel on Saturdays, no comparison to what we're facing each other. I feel like we have our best practice squad, which is good on good. So that's what makes us so good and makes us so much better as the season keeps going on. I mean, we'll play great teams, but we'll also play a great offense. So I think that's what makes us really good and keeps us tip-top and super sharp.
Tanner, your last question here from the podium. You said you had some unfinished business to get back to. Within that, is some of that developing your leadership skills you've learned from a lot of people? You've got a chance now to be a leader both off the field and on. What do you expect from yourself over the next 8 or 9 months in that role?
Yeah, I definitely, in the past, I've been a leader by what I've done, by my actions and things like that. And this year, I really got to take that vocal role. That's really important for the team, to see somebody step up and say something for the team. That's what we really need as a defense, and I'm going to do the best that I can. I know we have a lot of other guys on our defensive 11 to really just step up, Kayvon, Isaiah, AJ, and I'm sure there's a few other guys that I'm missing, but we all got to work as a team and as a defense to really be vocal, to lead these young guys to another successful season.
Tanner, thank you very much. You can switch places with your coach. Coach Swinney will be with us now for about 15 minutes. Once again, folks, I know you've introduced yourselves to the student athletes, but if you would, please introduce yourselves to the head coach. And Coach, we'll take this first question to your left, first row.
Richard Walker, freelance writer. You've been in Charlotte a lot lately with the ACC championship game. How important is Charlotte for you guys, and how important is Charlotte for the ACC?
Oh, Charlotte's been great. Really has. This is a wonderful city. Has a great infrastructure. I actually came up here for the All-Star basketball game this year, and that was pretty cool. So it's a great venue that we're blessed to play in here in Charlotte, and you know, it's one of our goals every year is to try to get here. So love everything about this city.
Coach, to your about the sixth row, hand in the.
Coach, Zach Al-Khatib, Sporting News. It seems like every team today has been asked how they might be able to close the distance with Clemson. Knowing you still have that giant target on your back, how important is it for you to keep hammering those things that have made you successful to this point?
Yeah, it's just kind of business as usual for us, to be honest with you. I mean, it's just what we do every year. You know, we've had 8, 10+ win seasons in a row. We've been very consistent, and the reason for that is we start over. You know, we don't. You heard these guys talk about it. We don't carry anything over. It's a new team. There's new challenges. You got to redevelop the leadership, reinstall the core values. I mean, I'll start my meetings tomorrow with the coaches. We'll have 5 days, and even though we've all been together for a long time, when we meet tomorrow, it's as if we all just showed up and met each other for the first time. And we're going to install the program. You know, what we do, how we do it, why we do it that way. And then, you know, we just go execute the plan. But that's just the mindset that's woven into the culture And so it's always about what's next. And you got to show up every year with something to prove. And so that sense of urgency, we create that all the time, and it's in our off season, our strength conditioning program, the way we practice, the way we meet and message with our team. So for us, that's what we do, and then you got to continue to recruit the right people, develop your players, and we've been able to consistently do that.
Coach to your left, first row.
Coach Steve Reed from the Associated Press. Over the last several years, you guys are, I think, 34-2 against ACC foes. You beat them by an average of 22 points. Seems like most teams you're rolling over, but over the last couple of years, there's one team it's really giving you fits, and that's Syracuse. And I wonder why those guys have been able to play with you, and do you view them as the biggest obstacle in your path to getting to where you want to go?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of teams give us fits. We've had some good wins and some games we've been able to get control of, but I mean, shoot, we had 3 games with Louisville go down to the last play. I mean, we've had epic battles with NC State. I mean, I know Florida State this year was a different type of game as they're transitioning, but we've unbelievable battles with Florida State and on and on and on. But Syracuse, Dino's just done an unbelievable job. It's a great place, and it starts with him. I mean, he's put a good staff together. They have a great philosophy in place. They're incredibly well coached. They've recruited well. They develop well, and you can tell that it's a relationship-driven program. I mean, he does a great job in connecting with his players, and they play hard. They play hard. He's created the belief, in his team that they can win. Regardless of who they play, and that's what it takes. And he's done an awesome job of instilling that mindset into their team, and he's had good players. Had some really good players. So I don't see them going away anytime soon.
Coach to your right, first row.
Coach, Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. Last season I asked you about faith. There's obviously something else with this team than just simple recruiting and wins and losses. What can you say about the culture that you have that's developed at Clemson, and the fact that this team not only wins games but does it professionally in a humble way? There's obviously pillars to the foundation that's built there, and just to go into that and what Clemson truly is.
Yeah, well, that starts with the process that we go through tomorrow, starting with our staff and making sure that everybody's on the same page. So again, we'll have 5 days from about 8:30 to 5 o'clock. No phones, we don't leave, and when we walk out of there, we're ready for the year. And so it starts with the people involved. I mean, I think I got 19 former players on my staff in different roles. So it's very connected. It's very relationship driven. Got relationships with, I mean, you look at my staff. I mean, Woody McCorvey was my coach. Lemansky Hall, Thad Turnipseed, Mickey Kahn, I played with them. Danny, I coached with him. He was one of my coaches when I was playing. Tony, I coached Jeff. Tony was a GA for me. It just kind of keeps going on and on and on. And so I work with a group of people that I love, and we have great relationships. And so Clemson's a special place. There's a quality of life and a simplicity of life in Clemson that's really special. That's just kind of a natural resource that you really don't understand until you have lived it. And I think that's part of it. When this is your profession, and I think our staff, and especially the staff that have been other places, they realize, how unique it is to be able to live in a place like Clemson and then, have this unbelievable stage to do what you love to do, on the weekends, and then they all leave. So it's just an awesome place, a bunch of good people. We have a great administration. There's a great chain of command and alignment. With our board and our president and our AD, we're just all on the same page, and we like each other. And so we've built our culture through loving our players, graduating our players, equipping them with the tools that they need to go be successful in life, making sure that they have a good experience. and that they win, but in that order. And so we've kept the main thing the main thing. We haven't changed anything since 2009 when I got the job. It's the same thing, same deal. It's just, we stayed the course. We stayed committed to the vision of the program, even when sometimes it didn't make sense to other people, or other people wanted us to do this or do that. We stayed the course. And I think, God has blessed us with an amazing journey, a great group of people, a group of young men that have chosen to come in and buy in and believe. Because I can be the greatest coach in the world, but if the players don't buy in and don't believe, it's not going to work. And so we've had a bunch of selfless players and staff that have bought into the philosophy of the program and how we do things, and it's been a great journey. But we're just getting going. We're just getting going. It's been a fun time. I can't believe I've had 10 years already under my belt. It's be my 11th full-time year, but it'll be my 17th at Clemson. And love what I do, who I do it with, where I do it, and I'm excited about this challenge and this journey and the story that this team is going to write as they go through the season.
Coach, to your left, far left, 6th row, last seat.
Hi, Coach. This is Joanne Bethea with the Clemson Insider. This year, you will play 10 out of your 12 regular season games in the Carolinas. Do you look at that as an advantage or a luxury, considering how far you've had to travel for games before?
Wow, I didn't know that. Didn't even think about that. So obviously, I don't look at that as a luxury. I hadn't even thought about it, but that's great. We've had, I think we had one stretch, I think we went like 17 out of 18 road games or something where they were night games. I mean, it was like crazy. And, you're getting home at 6 a.m. and those are some, and we won most of them. But it's nice. That's nice to know that when you do go to those road games, and you don't ever know when you're going to play, but it is nice to know that it's a short trip whenever the game is over. It's not like you're having to go a long way. But no, that's pretty cool. Be great for our parents, most of our parents and families and fans, that easy for them to get to the games also.
Let's stay in that general area to our left, still at the far end of this row.
Grace Rayner, The Athletic. As Todd Bates enters year 3 with Clemson, what does he mean to you and your program?
Oh, Todd's done an awesome job, just really proud of him. I would equate Todd replacing Dan Brooks to these young D linemen trying to replace Christian and Dexter and Cleveland and Austin and Huggy, that group, kind of the same thing. And I'm just really proud of him. He's a guy that, I kind of had my eye on for a while, and just a matter of whenever that time came, and Dan decided to retire. This is one of the greatest coaches of all time, Dan Brooks, and when he decided to retire after the championship at 16, I was able to go hire Todd. He was at Jacksonville State, and he has just done a phenomenal job in connecting with our players. Nobody works harder at trying to be a great coach and a student of the game and learning. He's been great with Brent. Brent has really enjoyed him, and he's been an unbelievable recruiter. He's passionate about what he does. A wonderful family. He's got twins getting ready to be born literally any minute. So just really proud of him. It was a great decision to bring him to Clemson, and we're thankful that he's still here.
Stay on the left right here, first row.
Hey, Coach. Rick Saratella, NFL Draft Bible. A lot has been made about your leadership. I'm curious to know, who are some of the leaders that you admire, that you've learned from, not necessarily in the football world, maybe it's a book you've read, but who are some of the leaders that you've admired and learned from throughout your life?
Oh, man, a lot of my teachers growing up, my coaches, I learned from everyone. You don't have to have a Twitter follower account for me to, think you're a great leader or something. I think everybody has a chance to be a great leader, and you have an opportunity to learn from everyone as you go through life. But man, some of my coaches that I've had all the way back to Coach Tohill in high school, and you know, I grew up in one town, so I mean, I had relationships with my teachers, a small town, so kindergarten, elementary, middle school, high school, and I'm so thankful for all the teachers that shaped me and disciplined me, encouraged me, equipped me, you know, with an education and help stoke that belief. Same thing with my coaches. You know, Coach Stallings has been one of the great mentors in my life. A lot of great leaders that I've never met. You know, I grew up, Bear Bryant was my hero growing up. I love Coach Bryant. I never got to meet him, but he was one that I, you know, followed and read about and things like that. And Bobby Bowden is I think, a man that I've learned a lot about, got to know, obviously, with my relationship with Tommy. But just so many people I've never met, you know, I mean, and then some people that I've been fortunate to meet, a guy like Tony Dungy. You know, I've read his books, I read his daily devotional, I've had an opportunity to visit with him, he's spoken to the team. I've really met some neat people along my journey that have been great leaders for me. But I study everybody, anybody and everybody. I think we can learn. It's a constant process, it never ends, but I learn from my kids, I learn from my players, I learn from the staff. So it's a never-ending process for me. But Woody McCorvey, who was my position coach, been one of the great mentors in my life, one of the wisest men I know. Lots of them. My wife, I'll leave her out. Known her since the first grade. She's been a great leader in my life, for sure.
Coach, follow the center aisle, third row to your right, orange shirt.
Coach Trevor Groves, TigerNet.com. The other room just now, you were talking about that recruiting cycle when you got Kayvon and Isaiah late in the process. Is that a situation you could see yourself using the transfer portal if there had been one back then?
Probably not. You know, to me, I mean, we haven't, like I said, we haven't recruited a transfer portal, and it's not anything wrong with that. It just hasn't been what we've had to do, and hope we don't have to do that. But you know, I think at that time those guys were seniors, and I still prefer to recruit the high school kid and do a good job of evaluating and develop. That's just my mindset, and that's my philosophy. But you know, that may come a day where maybe we have some guys leave that you didn't know, or all of a sudden you get some guys injured or something like that, and maybe it's later in the process, you know, maybe spring or summer or something like that, where you might have a specific need. But you know, I don't know. Figure that out as I go. But it's not really where we are right now.
We're going to squeeze in the last question, third row to your left.
Bob Halliday, WRL.com. Coach, there were an eye-popping 18 punts returned for touchdowns last year. Clemson ranks among the ACC's elite in net punting, even though you don't punt that often. In this ACC, how important is it to pay attention to things like punt coverage, maybe even kicking away from the dangerous return man?
I mean, you know, special teams are critical. You know, people talk about defense wins championship. I always laugh at that. Defense don't win championships. Teams win championships. It takes a team to win a championship. Not an offense, not a defense, not special teams. You know, but special teams are a critical part of that team. You know, because it's field position, it's the hidden yardage. I mean, you can go back to our first national championship game when we got beat. You know, we gave up a doggone kick return to Drake, I think was his name, Kenyon Drake, great player. One play. They had the onside kick in that game. You know, that's not why they scored, but they got great field position, you know, in the middle of the field. So special teams is critical. I mean, it impacts the game. And so it's something that I mean, we work very hard on, and in all aspects of it. And we've had our share of success, and we've had our share of bad plays too. But it's just like your offense and your defense. It's critical, and oftentimes can be the difference. All things being even.
Clemson, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Folks, a reminder to the media that voting for the ACC preseason order of finish, preseason player of the year, and preseason All-ACC team is now open. You should have received that link to vote. If you've not, chase down